Hello everyone, I'm HTTYD Collector and welcome to another video where I will be doing a little bit something else because it's my first anniversary on YouTube by making videos and my 5-year anniversary on Instagram. I thought to do like a little Q&A session with answering questions on camera because that's sometimes a little bit easier than typing it out. So you guys have some questions for me and I will be answering them right now. So the first question is how I got into How to Train Your Dragon, and it's technically like if we go back like 15 years because it's also the anniversary for the first movie. It's 15 years, yippee! So 15 years ago, I went to the movie theater after seeing some trailers for the other Dreamworks movies, and I've always been a fan of the Dreamworks movies, like every single one, like Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, and so on. And so when How to Train Your Dragon was going to be released, of course I was going to watch it as well, and I fell in love with it. Like I think a lot of us at that time who went to see it at the cinemas did. So the score was amazing, the music again, the story was great, the animation, the dragons. I love dragons as well, and so because of that I started to get more things and more, and I realized that these things make me really happy, and so I wanted to add more and more. And so that's how the collection grew. But that is how it started, with how I got into How to Train Your Dragon. So technically just me going to the cinema, loving the movie, and just changing my life forever. So technically the next question also follows this, is since when do I know How to Train Your Dragon? Since 2010. So 15 years ago at this point in time is when I went into this fandom. In a way, I don't really regret buying things, but what I do regret is getting like the same plushies but like in the different sizes. In my eyes it works because I like to get different like it feels like more completing sets, but it gets monotone over time. Like you have my Lifery over here, and then you have that scaly one. Okay, there's a different one, but then you have the smaller ones, but then you have that face, and then we have more over there, and then on top of there as well. So it gets like, or even there, so it gets like boring to look at them, and I even already put a lot of my sizes away because of this. And in a way I regret doing that, but it's not that I wouldn't go back and do this anyway. But over time, like, I realized it has been like maybe a bit crazy of me to start, but now I can't go back anymore. I think it is difficult sometimes to mention what is actually rare, because it also depends on how you collect things and how you see things. Like for me, rare stuff is like things like food packagings or like toothbrushes, because you buy them to use them, and it's like how many are there left at some point in time. But of course for some other people, prototypes could be considered more rare. Or just action figures can also be rare, so it's really hard to say what is considered actually rare or what is rare in how you look at things. So yeah, that's hopefully answering that question. So this is actually something I have thought about, and what I hope to do one day, or what I try to accomplish hopefully, is that this whole collection, that when I'm not here anymore, or I'm passing this down, or whatever happens, is that this can all go to a toy museum, because I will keep my collection together, which is something that would make me sad if it like splits up. And also to keep the How to Train Your Dragon spirit alive, so that people can see what toys, and like you have, like if you really think about it, it's like a little time machine, which is absolutely adorable, and I love this. Like you have 2010 stuff that's like right over, like I can see it in my corner there, while we even are getting like the live action in the meantime, which is like super recent. So you have like this timeline of toys, and then of course we will see what happens in the future to How to Train Your Dragon. But if my collection can go to like a toy museum, they can preserve it and keep it all together and can show it off to people in the future, which is something I think that would be really, really cool. And something like, this is my life's work as well in a way, and I do hope to continue that. So it will be sad to just see it go and fade away. So there are a lot of good Toothless plushies, but my favorite one is the Toothless Racing plush from Falabella. I think it just looks really, really good. Like his head shape looks awesome, although he does have his mouth being red and his nose as well. But other than that, like he has his saddle, he has the racing stripes, which is kind of unique because if I remember correctly or can see, he's the first and only plush that has racing stripes, which are actually accurate and or included. So that makes him really, really fun. And then the saddle, of course, and like his proportions match really, really well. So in my opinion, this is the best Toothless plush. The first movie is my favorite one, and I think that's like pretty common for most people, but it has the most nostalgia, and I can keep talking about this, why I love it so much, but I think that would make the video too long. But for short, it's the first movie. Another cool question is how much my collection is worth, and to be honest, I have no clue. Mostly because one, I don't want to know, because I think it would scare me with how much I have spent already, and I'm gonna be spending more because I want to keep this collection growing. But also because it's really difficult to say how much things are worth because some things fall, some things rise. Like a good example is the some of the action figures. Like some can be really, really expensive, but it depends like on what the market is on that point. Like the Fireworm Queen, for example, like that action figure. So I would actually not know. Maybe one day I can count it up, but that's for something way in the future. So I have to choose between Dragons Nine Realms and Dragons Race to the Edge, and for me it will always be Race to the Edge, mostly because I think it's a really, really good show, like one of the best ones. But like I love How to Train Your Dragon, but I think it's a really good one because it has a good transition between the first and the second movie. And like with Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk, you also had that, but like we got the story of Skull Crushing, Stoic Met, the Bewilder Beast, Valka. We got some really, really cool extra dragons. And then of course it has my favorite dragon, the Sentinel dragons, so that also works. Dragons in Our Realms itself I think is pretty good, but it's because I try to see it something separate than something combined, and that's something that sometimes is a little bit difficult. On its own it's a really good one. The Race to the Edge is something like we can associate it with How to Train Your Dragon and it works. Dragons in Our Realms we know is associated with the Dragons franchise, but I like to see it as something separate because combined it makes a really weird, like, because we know what happened at the at the end of the third movie, that like it fades a little bit, like the purpose of that movie. But simply, Dragons Race to the Edge is my favorite of the two. So my most expensive item is this Toothless cinema statue, which is like 3 meters long and 170 meters tall. And yeah, it was mostly because of the shipping. The statue itself was actually pretty doable in price, but I got this shipped over from France, which was quite a lot. And I do plan on restoring him because he does have some missing parts. So everything together, this is like my most expensive item in my collection. But if we just consider like an item individually, my most expensive item is my prototype 10-inch Toothless Funko Pop, and which I love really, really much. So the last question is what games I have played and what I thought of them. And I've played a lot of them, so if I try to remember them correctly for this video, of course I've played School of Dragons. I think that was one of the best ones. I do miss, like, I came at a point where there were no like quests anymore, so then it got a little bit more boring, but I really love that you can get like customized dragon and have any dragon you want. Of course I had the Sentinel, it was my favorite buddy, and I do miss him really, really much after the game closed. And I also had like the expansion pack and stuff, like the yearly thing, so I had Toothless, so it was really, really cool to have like an open roaming game. And then of the other games, like online, I don't really remember a lot of them. Like you had some like went and go, you know, were released and then went away. But of like the main ones, like on consoles, we have of course the How to Train Your Dragon 1 game, which is a really cool game in my opinion, but it depends on which console you played it, because I played it on the Wii, and it was really fun because then it was like more open world. On the Nintendo, you could also have that, but it was less open, I believe. I never played the actual Nintendo one, and played the Wii one. It's about like open roaming. It got a little bit repetitive, but I do like that you can also customize your dragons and fight with them, and you know, you can collect different ones that you wanted. Then we had How to Train Your Dragon 2, like the open roam one. That one I really enjoyed. I had a little bit of bad luck because I also got the Wii version. I wasn't able to get the Cloud Jumper and the Cloud Jumper with Valka and Skull Crusher with Stoic. That wasn't really on that console, so I bought it for the PlayStation 3. I really love that it was open world, that you can like go anywhere. The music was great. I really love that one. That was one of the really good ones. And then we had Dawn of the Dragon Riders, if I'm pretty sure. I wasn't really big fan of the style that was used, in my opinion. Like the heads were too big, the Vikings looked a little bit off, Toothless was like blown up, and I didn't really enjoy like the way that was handled. The dragons were pretty cute. The Dragons in Our Realm games on the Switch I have played as well. I think that was a really cool one, like flying around and seeing stuff and going to the different realms. That was pretty cool. And then I also of course have the 2 kart racing games from Dreamworks. Fun and just like Mario Kart, but a little bit more difficult. And then the other games, of course, Titan Uprising. I played that one. I got bored of it because it kept like being the same and a little bit too difficult in the end. Like you had to have the really good dragons, so I stopped playing that. And then we have Rise of Berk, which I played a lot. Then I didn't play it, and I played it a lot. And then now I haven't played for a little while, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get into that game again because I think a lot has changed. What else? I think that's all the games that I know of, or like I know of, but I can't remember at least because I know you have like the sheep drop game. I had that one, a really old one, and it was like gone pretty soon. And then I did play the VR Academy, the Flight Academy game, like where you had to actually go to the place where they get you into the onto a dragon with a VR headset. I did do that. It was amazing. I do hope to do that again someday because that was pretty far from me, like really, really far. But that was cool. That is one of the best. I think that's the best one because you get immersed into that land. I think we're pretty much there now, so I do hope that answers that question. But I do have played a lot. Oh, we also have, I just looked at my part of my collection as well because that remembers, you had like this portal game, and you get like Skylanders kind of, but then we had to train dragons, like a couple. That one, I didn't enjoy that much. It was just like a scroller. It was boring over time. The dragons were a nice addition because you get the actual figures. So yeah, so that were all of the questions, and I do really appreciate you guys asking me them, and thank you so much for the support I have gotten over the year and over the 5 years on Instagram, because I would have never been able to keep this up if it weren't for you guys. And if you did like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram to keep up my collection, and I do hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!